Jalb al-Masalih or Jalb al-Mafasid, the protection of interests and removing of harms. That's one of the main objectives of the Sharia. Then we have covered those daruriyat and ihtiyajat and tahsiniyat. And one would like to see that the whole thing here is built on property, which is one of the daruriyat, protection of property. And on this, then the discussion will proceed to other issues, as you mentioned, that how properties are protected, how properties are acquired, how properties are exchanged, and we come to financial contracts. What are the limitations on ownership that are imposed, like zakat, like taxes, like the prohibition of haram things and the prohibition of interest. So, but here the topics are wider, and but also I can see some, for example, in tahsiniyat, you have mentioned that the prohibition of sale of public property comes under tahsiniyat. Well, I think it's a serious issue. It's not only about embellishments. It's not a question of comfort, but it's a question of public interest. People are allowed to sell public property. So there are some changes in the priorities. There must be some changes in priorities. Something which was tahsiniyat before, maybe ihtiyajat now. And then we have mentioned about other general Sharia objectives in financial activities, like justice, and under this the prohibition of riba, transparency, and consent. The consent. I would like to see more emphasis on the consent, because the Quran in Surah Nisa, ayah number 29, we have mentioned that ayah here, mentions that the Quran states that that you should not take property unlawfully. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu la ta'kulu amwalakum bainakum bil batil illa an takuna tijaratan an taradin minkum, but by way of exchange or trade with your mutual consent. And from here we can go to other issues. For example, when we can say there's a mutual consent, and who can give mutual consent, who can give consent, on what consent can be given. Such issues could be developed based on the Quranic ayah itself. And that's one, there's justice. Then facilities and avoidance of difficulties. Ibaha, allowance of salam, and istisna, and intolerable, Fagara. Now we come to Ibaha, which is the principle. The principle in transactions is permissibility. So this Ibaha may not be here in the objectives, because it's difficult to reconcile. The objectives is Ibaha. But the approach could be, yes, Ibaha. For example, we look to the Prophet ﷺ himself. When he was in Mecca or in Medina, he did not abolish all existing transactions in Medina or in Mecca. Instead, he prohibited some which were usurious, and corrected some, like salam contracts, which was practiced before in a different way. But he said that we want to practice salam, practice in this way, and allow all other transactions to continue, like mudaraba, like wadi'a. So this is the approach. That is, of course, related to the main objective of bring facilities. So that was the approach of the Prophet ﷺ. And we can learn from this approach. What we can learn today is this, that we do not set up all transactions common in Western countries. All modes of finance there are haram, but there are some which are haram. And based on this, we can find the Shafi's istishab. Imam Shafi's methodology of istishab is based on this. Taking. Islam is inclusive here, and not exclusive. It includes. Only this is different from the ibadah, of course. The ibadah, everything is haram, but specifically those things which are permitted. In muamalat, everything is permitted, unless those which are specifically prohibited, has prohibited elements. So, then of course, on this concentration of or circulation of wealth, I would like to see a reference to Surah Al-Hashr, Surah number 59, ayah number 7, which says, so that the wealth is not concentrated among few rich or wealthy persons or companies or institutions or countries even. So that's how. Then on continuity of the investment of wealth. Islam encourages Muslims to invest wealth, should not, we have mentioned somewhere, should not store the wealth. I would like to ask a question. Is this deposits in Islamic banks, are they meant for investment or are they for safekeeping? If deposits are meant for safekeeping, then of course it is storage of wealth. It is not used for a proper purpose. I have money, I don't invest my money, I keep my money in the bank. So is this comes under the Nuzul of the wal Fitr? Because I don't invest. It's not considered investment. It's considered for safekeeping. What they are necessary for safekeeping. Had there not been banks, I would have invested my money in Musharaka and Mudarra, the other persons. The banks can be here. I go to bank and deposit my money in the bank. Intermediate. And the banks take my money and invest based on Murabah and it. But my money is a deposit. I'm not a partner. So, shall we extend this principle of prohibition of Zahab wal Fitr to, I'm not sure we probably can clarify this. Of course, you have mentioned other objectives like fulfillment of basic needs, other needs, reducing the gap, widening monopolies, and the importance of legal and moral obligations, documentations, mutual consent. Okay. Again on this specific objectives. We have mentioned again here hoarding. When I see hoarding, I thought about ihtikar, which is a specific technical concept. Ihtikar, I think, is not necessarily confined to money, but to essential commodities. People store those commodities with the intention to push the prices up, like oil, like sugar, like other essential commodities, especially in times of scarcities. But here you refer again to hoarding of money. Probably we can also include this ihtikar to the hadith, because the hadith specifically says al-muhtakir al-khatim, al-muhtakir mal'oon. So, again here, I can see some overlapping also. When we discuss the general objectives and specific objectives. For example, Figh is mentioned in slide number 19. It also is mentioned in slide number 35, I think. My eyesight is not strong. The same concept of Figh is repeated here. And then when you discuss riba, on this page 9, in my page, but I don't think it is not page number. It is slide number 36.